And we are live. A few glitches out of the way, but we're finally here live on the Monster Report Live. We're so glad that you are here to join us. I'll bring in my guest in just a minute. Monster Report's a show highlighting those entertaining creatures of film history. And if you've been following us and watching the videos, you know that this office will soon be no more. It's coming apart slowly. It's still somewhat of a broom closet for me, but so when we'll get that new office built, it'll be all nice, and we'll have it all set up the way we like it for a show. And so here in just a few minutes, I'm going to bring in my guest. I'm a big fan of Kaiju content creators, whether that would be, let's say, bloggers, musicians, toy makers, other YouTubers like myself, podcasters. I loved hearing anything Kaiju content related. And it's, of course, what inspired me to create this channel, The Monster Report, and what led to you all subscribing, liking, hitting that notification bell, all those great things, following on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Thank you so much for that support. And we are up to 92,000 plus subscribers and growing. So I like to give back a little. I like to help out content creators that are getting started too. And we've had Kaiju Kim on. We've had, who else have we had? We've had Cal the Kaiju guy. Oh my Godzilla. All kinds of great content creators that are out there. And my guest today is no exception. I've been following his content for just a few months now, and he's got some great stuff out there, and you need to subscribe to his channel as well. We've got DewanCollex. Dewan, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I appreciate you having me here. I'm definitely feel, blessed that you reached out and give me an opportunity to have some fun with you.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you. I've checked out your channel. When I first saw you, I got to remember it was, I believe, those keychains, those blind bag Godzilla,
monogram?
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, was it when I did like 3 videos back to back, the Godzilla versus Kong, the Series 3 and the Series 4?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think that's where, because I think I remember you hold them real close to the camera for your thumbnail, and I was like, oh, I love those. Those are perfect. So yeah.
I've been following them since I think their first Godzilla series, the King of the Monsters, in 2019, and I think they've had maybe like 6. Sorry about that. Someone was calling. I think they've had like 6, and I've talked to them like, on phone, was throwing out idea, and they're like, "Whoa, we actually are having more Godzilla stuff coming." I was like, "Yo, that's really cool," because I don't really know how difficult it is to reach out to companies, but being able to access them and them actually take my feedback, I thought was pretty cool. I hope they keep them coming. They're inexpensive. They're just cool little cheap collector. I'm a collector who collects everything, whether it's like high end or it's just like real like kiddish. It doesn't matter. I have pretty much anything you could think of Godzilla on the channel so far, and I still got a bunch left. Anything from hot sauces to vintage trend masters, and I love Godzilla.
Oh yeah, I know. And I tell you what, the cool stuff you've got in your channel just keeps me locked in, and I love commenting, and you comment back, which is what I really appreciate about content creators, especially Kaiju content creators. A lot of the times they get the comments, but they don't give back. Thanks for your view, or I answer their question, things like that, or respond to what they say, and you do that, so I appreciate you doing that. And we'll get back to collecting in a minute. I kind of want to talk to you about you as a fan of Godzilla and going back a little, kind of how it all began. Did it go back to childhood? Did it happen later in life? I think I have an idea based on that picture you use in your Facebook profile, but I'll let you tell the story.
Yes. First, respond to what you said about commenting. Yeah, I'm real big with like just in general in life, like giving people a response. I feel like you take your time to reach out to me or reply to me. I always like to give people a reply, and then especially when it comes to this, like there's dozens of like kaiju content creators, and there's like really big name ones that people know, and then there's big ones that may not everyone knows, but they're still known around the community. And people are taking time to watch, my video, and liking, commenting. Like, I always want to give back and give thanks. And plus, I mean, if you're into Godzilla and you're checking out the video, you comment, you're pretty cool in my book. So it's like, I'm always down to make more friends. Um, I've seen other like up and comers, and I'll see their comment feed, and I'm like, wait, why don't they reply to anybody? And, I'm not, throwing any shade on anybody. Me personally, I just like to interact, and I feel like you're giving to the channel by not only watching but taking the time to comment. So I'm definitely gonna return that. And then back to your main question, I don't know exact age I got into Godzilla. I believe it's 5. I wish I had like that iconic, like everyone's like, oh yeah, my first movie was this. And I'm like, I don't remember what my first movie was, but it was definitely Showa era, obviously, because we didn't get the Heisei, I think, in America till what, like early 2000s or something like that.
We started getting the VHS tapes after the Godzilla 98 movie, but yeah, I mean, like big time, really, you're right. It was with DVD when it really started kicking, but there were a few VHS tapes I remember getting after the 98 movie, but they were few and far between, and they weren't in
Okay.
order. They weren't in. I remember like getting Space Godzilla first. It was
Yeah,
like,
see, like that's like one reason why Trend Masters like holds such a like close part in my heart, which a lot of 90s kids. I'm technically 80s because I'm born in 89, but pretty much fall into 90s. I'm 33 if you did the math. So I've been rocking with Godzilla almost 3 decades. I couldn't say like I'm been strong the whole time. Not that I ever lost interest. It's just when I was a kid, I would try and catch, the movie marathons on like sci-fi, and then the old school, VCR, get the blank VHS tape and record. And then my mom, I think, got some of the VHS tapes. And my grandpa was into monster movies, so I kind of had that connection with him. My mom probably introduced me via my grandpa because I was a big dinosaur guy. And so it's like Godzilla is like pretty much a giant dinosaur, except for he breathes fire, atomic breath. And so it was like natural fit. I've always been a big reptile guy. Like, I love everything like reptilian, dinosaur, dragon. So like Godzilla just naturally fits there. Like with other franchises like Mortal Kombat, my favorite character is Reptile. And it's like, I like Game of Thrones, dragons. Like, I'm just always like, a reptilian type of person. And I love Godzilla as a kid. And then we had the American one. I liked it as a kid, but it did upset me as a kid. Like, what? You can't kill Godzilla? I'm like, why does he have no breath? And I'm like, I cried and like twice in the movie. I'm like, they killed all the cool babies. And then that picture you're talking about, really cool shirt I have for picture day. It is based on the Godzilla 98. And as an adult, I think it's a cool kaiju movie, but as Godzilla named, I don't really like it. The series is cool, which that's usually the popular opinion. I don't hate on Zilla like everyone else does, but I don't really recognize him as like legit Godzilla. The fact that it dies because it had eggs. It was like asexual order, if you want to technically say Godzilla was a she in that movie, or still a him or it. But I'm just like, you can't kill Godzilla, and then there's no atomic breath. And I know when it comes to movies, like people like the iconic like starts of the era, like 54, 84, Shin Godzilla. And like me personally, like I like those movies. Like, they're obviously really good, especially the OG because of the message it has behind it. But I like the monster action. So like I always want to see Godzilla against another foe. So that's why I like what they did with the MonsterVerse. And sorry I'm long-winded. I'm kind of all over the place. But from childhood, since the American movie, I didn't really know about the Heisei movies. I knew Trim Masters had these cool toys of like, oh, Space Godzilla, Mecha King Ghidorah, Biollante, and my love for it kind of lied dormant until we got the MonsterVerse one in 2014, and then it really kicked up when I started collecting when the 2019 movie came. So that would, I guess be my explanation of my fandom.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're very much like a lot of fans I talk to. You kind of have an ebb and flow with Godzilla, with the kaiju and all things. You had the early childhood, but then you might have taken a break, went on to other things. Life events happen, and you come back to them. You come back to your first love, and it's always coming back to Godzilla and reclaiming those memories. And one of the things I'm going to ask you, and I'll let you think about it while I get some chats in here as we're going through this live stream. And thank you so much, all of you in the chat. Keep asking questions, talking, all that kinds of stuff. And I'll get to you in just a minute here. But do you want to think about this is rewatchability? Because we might say, what's your favorite film? But I might have a separate one that's the one that I find myself rewatching more often. That might not be my favorite, but it's got a lot of replayability, but I'll ask you that when we get back from some of these super chats. We had the executor dragon. Fear not, for I am here. We have Kitty Shape. Not sure, whatever. We've got Executive Dragon again. Yeah, he's got a webcam. Looks like he's a kaiju fan and he'd like to. Yeah, that'd be cool. I am not on Discord, unfortunately. So, but if you would reach out to me either on monsterreport.com, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, I'm on all of those. We've got my boy Everett Grondin in the house. Everett, I am so sorry. It is too much that I keep forgetting. I keep not forgetting your live streams. Things are happening at work. Today was our 50th celebration for my company. We got some really cool, swag and all of that. And they had a picnic and it was great. It was a great time. And so that was my day. So I didn't end up getting to see Kaiju Chillaclack on his channel, but everyone out there, check it out. And
okay, I see his stuff. I haven't checked it out yet, but I definitely will.
Godzilla Fan Freaks on YouTube. Check him out. He's another great kaiju content creator. And if you are seeing up here, I don't know if it's showing up on everyone's screens, but the like button, I only see 2 lights up there, and we got 5 viewing. Hit that like button, or as Everett would say, atomic blast that like button. Okay, Executive Dragon had to go, but yeah, tune in next time, and we're glad to have you. Lee Powers is in the house. 70s kid first saw King Kong versus Godzilla. Ray Harryhausen Dinosaurs. That's a great also start to giant monsters. Got him into Godzilla on TV during creature feature shows. Yes, there were some great ones growing up, like TNT's Monster Vision, and they even had Godzilla-thon on some different ones. And like I want to say it was like Sci-Fi Channel, and like getting a blank tape, taping them off of TV so you could watch them because you couldn't find them and they were hard to find out there in the video stores and all that. So that was the way we, got to rip them from TV with the commercials of the time. And
yeah,
kind of nostalgic to watch back on those things. But Harryhausen is right along the lines of our love for dinosaurs. Like you talked about, dragons, dinosaurs, monsters, giant monsters of all kinds, whether they breathe fire or not, whether they're animated or not, or in a suit. We love them all, and that's cool. And so, yeah, Dewan, you've had the chance to think about that. Is your favorite kaiju film or your one you like to replay a lot the same movie, or are they different?
Okay. First off, welcome everybody, and I appreciate y'all being here, chiming in. I just didn't want to interrupt. But it's hard for me to narrow down one. I'd say, I guess, like, I'll just quickly touch on the couple previous eras. I'd say Hedora or Hedra, however you want to pronounce it. Probably my favorite Showa movie. Um, Heisei, I would say Biollante, and Millennium uh, against Mechagodzilla. Kiru is my favorite version of Mechagodzilla, and then onto MonsterVerse. So like obviously like some of the Showa movies got like a more interesting, fun storyline. But when it comes to like visual, like when I watch these movies, I come to see the monsters fight and it looking good. So I do like King of the Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong. Um, so out of all the movies, I don't know the exact counts of the Showa movies, but out of all the movies I've seen, King of the Monsters the most. I saw it 3 times in theaters, and then another handful of times at home. And then I've seen Godzilla versus Kong maybe a few times less than that, and it's all purely, we have really dope CGI. I definitely love the suits. It still, some of the stuff still looks really good to this day with what they did back in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Some of it looks cheesy or whatever, but I'm just like, hey, I still appreciate for what it is. But I definitely like watching the new ones, and it's just purely based on the visual and the action, not necessarily the characters and the storyline, which a lot of people nitpick with.
Yeah. 2019 definitely has the replayability, especially on the big screen. You get to see it that way. And, it's funny. It's like some of the movies that do really well on the big screen. And then you see them maybe in 3D. I don't think I've seen any other of the MonsterVerse in 3D with the exception of 2014, which I was like, it was okay in 3D, but I actually, was fine with it in the 2D. But the monster action, the fight scenes of 2019 and the constant back and forth gives it that, in my opinion, that replayability like you were talking about, because monsters are coming out of everywhere. It's not just Godzilla and King Ghidorah. You're talking about Rodan, Mothra, and then there's these peripheral monsters they discuss and that come into play, which is cool too. But yeah, Lee Powers talking. We were talking about the tapes earlier. Loves his tapes. That was collecting before we had toys. I mean, you talked about Trendmasters, but like I was growing up in the '80s, and we had that Imperial KB Toys, whatever, or Toys R Us, if you found it there. And that was about it. And then Trendmasters comes along and then starts flooding us with some cool new toys. Was it Trendmasters that started the collecting for you?
Yeah, okay, so technically, all right, so my lady, she's a big collector when it comes to dolls, like mostly Barbie, but some of like the upscale. And growing up, I always envisioned I would collect something. I don't know if you're familiar with this weapon magazine, like back in the early mid 2000s, called Bud KWW. I don't know, it was like a free magazine it sent out, and it had like different kinds of like daggers and swords and stuff, like movie replicas. And I thought that was cool, and I was always thinking like, man, when I grow up, I was like, I'll probably collect that. But I never got into like getting any of like swords on the wall and stuff. And I just always knew I wanted to collect something. And then it wasn't till like she was starting to do her Barbie thing, and I'm just kind of like, I want to get something. Sometimes I would peek in the toy aisle, like when Rampage came out. And then when like Godzilla came out, I remember 14, I did not like those toys. They looked pretty horrible. And I would just like look out of curiosity, because I'm like, I don't have a reason to go in the toy aisle anymore. I'm not a kid, but really I am still a big kid. But like whenever this King of the Monsters was coming out, they started releasing, the toys for the movie. And they had the Bandai movie monster series with like King Caesar and the Millennium Godzilla, Rainbow Mothra. Those are technically my first, even as crappy as was it Jack's Pacific toys were. I still got them. I'm just like, oh, it's fun to get something at the store. And but like what really launched the collecting, that's my technical answer. It was just like the little cheap, Walmart toys. But what really launched it was, I was like, man, they don't make toys like they used to. And that's something I always harp on my channel when I'm, doing the Trim Master stuff. I'm like, not only was it like cheaper and like affordable, but you had like decent quality, if not better back then. But you had like so many cool features. You had missiles launching, you had light up, you had roar. I got, my most like,
Oh yeah.
popular video on the channel is my Space Godzilla that, yes, I did open brand new, but I love the micro battle playset. So I was like thinking whenever the movie came out, I was like, what was that brand called of toys that I used to collect? Because my first one was a green roaring Godzilla, the little 4-inch, and it took me a minute. I was like, I know it's not Bandai. And I was looking, I was like, oh, Trim Master, I want eBay. And then at that time, I think someone might have got like one of Trim Master's old warehouses, because the guy was a seller out of like Detroit. And I asked him, like, where'd you get all this stock? And he said, we recently made a trip to a warehouse in St. Louis, and that's where Trim Master's based off. And he had like all kinds of stuff, like all the roaring figures, the micro battle sets, and I think my first one I got was like a Gigan or Space Godzilla, the 4-inch roar. And I was like, these things were on bid for like $10-$20. And I was just like, I got a little bit of money on my credit card. I'm just like, let me do the bid thing. And then I was hooked, and I got a little out of hand for a minute. But I was just like, Trim Masters, yeah, to answer your question long, Trim Master is what really launched the collecting. And once I literally got almost everything that I want, until like, there's a few of the rare pieces that barely come online, and they're always like hundreds, if not $1,000. I'm still waiting on a few of those figures, but I literally got most of the more affordable, common, and some of the rare stuff. I started moving over to the monster arts and X Plus, and a guy in front of me is Gashapon, or however you pronounce it, Bandai, the high grade diorama. This is the Biolante. Her belly lights up, and that's when I started shifting away from Trim Masters, 'cause I literally got almost everything, and then I started getting like everything else, whether it's like cheap or expensive. And
Yeah, and you don't have, it sounds like you don't have a problem with about the brands, because like now you're moving, like you said, past the Playmates and Trend Masters, but there's still some cool Playmates. I know you got like the Target, the 54 you found, and
yeah.
things like that. So nothing against Playmates, they're still making their stuff, and so you started getting into X Plus and SH Monster Arts, and spending more money. It burns the hole in the wallet, right? Very quickly. So when you started getting like some of the other kaiju, were you looking for some non-Godzilla kaiju that were kind of your favorites?
Like, are you talking about like out of the Godzilla franchise?
Any kaiju really. It could be Toho, it could be Gamera series, or it could be Harryhausen. Any of those that you were looking for? That, yeah.
I haven't checked out Harryhausen yet. I've seen like some of the stuff. Did he make Retrosaurus?
Oh, the Rhedosaurus. Yeah, the beast from 20,000 Fathoms, the Rhedosaurus. Yes, he did that.
Okay, that I've seen those figures, and I was interested in that, and I'm like, I still need to watch like a lot of non-Godzilla monster movies. Like the Toho is like high on the list, because I'm like, if you're associated with Godzilla, I'm gonna prioritize that. I still need to see Atragon, War of the Gargantuas, the Frankenstein versus, well, it's not called Baragon, but it's like versus the world. But I was trying to see the movies that are related to Godzilla, but aren't quite in. Godzilla's not in it. I recently checked out the Gamera trilogy. Unfortunately, because I know a lot of people like it, I'm not into Gamera. I don't really like how any of the monsters look. So like when it comes to non-Godzilla kaiju, it's really just in the Godzilla universe. So like I'd say a three-way tie is between Ghidorah and any version of Ghidorah, and then Biollante are like my three tie, and then Space Godzilla is probably like right after that, and then usually Mecha Godzilla. So pretty much different versions of Godzilla other than Ghidorah are like tend to be my favorite. I do like Rodan a lot. I don't feel like he gets enough love.
Yeah, and you got that favorite sculptors line of the 56 Rodan, and that
Yeah,
is beautiful.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
love that. I checked that video out twice because I was like, why did I skip out on that one?
Is it not available on any of the retailers anymore?
I bet it is. I think it's just when you get it on the pre-order, you get it a little cheaper, more inexpensive. I've got too much, and you're probably thinking the same thing. It's like too much. You've got stuff in the back rooms and whatever else, and I'm like, I have to stop until the new office is built because I've got too much coming in, too many pre-orders, too many, and so I said, better not. I do have that 60. I want to say it's the 64 Rodan from Ghidra the three-headed monster, which is a cool figure, but the face doesn't have that same look to it. I love the face of the 56. It's a real, just, I don't know, horrific monster looking face.
Yeah, I think them black eyes kind of paint into that. He looks like real menacing, or she. I don't know if it's the female Rodan, but it's probably the guy one. I definitely like the 64, but I think that came out before I started collecting. I'm able to keep up with most of the X Plus, but I've had to kind of scale back on how often I collect until things change a bit with the pockets. I do have finally the 2019 X Plus Rodan. I should be making the last payment on that probably next week and have him, and I'll probably be one of the next videos I'll do is unboxing that whenever I get it. I always shop at Sideshow. They still have that 56 Rodan, but he's on wait list, so it's no guarantee you could get it. But it's still for the 255. I think the market price it didn't go up on that site. I'm not sure about the other ones.
Yeah, and it looks like is that a Shin that you've got there that you could feature for us and talk a little about him?
Yeah, this is the Frozen. Sorry. I
There he
start
is.
with the tail because it's probably like the best, my favorite part of the figure. But the tail keeps going and going and going, and oh, there we go. I really like this version. It's the only Shin Monster Arts I got. All the other ones came out before I started getting into the Monster Arts. I got him from Sideshow. Sorry, my setup is a little difficult to show it off completely. Anybody that's viewing that hasn't seen, I do have him on the channel, where you'll probably get a better, like, in-depth view.
Oh, that is great. I love that color of the frozen look that he's in. It's so cool. You see a lot of Shin where he's got, his highlights and when he's in, active moving mode, but that frozen state is so iconic because it's almost a statue. I love how they paint their figures in the SH Monster Arts look. It's so awesome.
Yeah, I love the grayscale. He's got some good shades of gray to him. And then the tail is the only part that's got color. It's got like a orange to...
Yeah. I know it's hard to focus those cameras on those, but I see it. And it's like the end of the movie with that iconic scene there that left everyone saying, what? Yeah, like,
I wish they would have made a sequel, but
time will tell. Maybe we'll get one, but it's hard telling. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any plans though, but yeah. So, and you said the what was it, the Biollante there was not X plus. He was like the Gashapon there. So is he a vinyl or is he a statue?
Yeah,
She, you're right. She. I should.
the nah, that's all good. The back of the battery pack just popped out, but it's stationary. It's a statue. I don't know how well you can see how it's lit up. I think it's on flicker mode.
That's
You can
cool.
see how it's like kind of blinking, and so that's
Yeah.
like that's like probably my favorite thing when it comes to collecting. I love roars and I love lights. Like that's like my favorite gimmick that a figure could have. So I'm gonna go ahead and save the batteries on this. But yeah, she's just like a really good, stationary sculpt. Normally the Gashapon are like small, like fit in a ball. This one comes like in a whole box. You can see she's pretty big scale. I'm excited about the Art Spirits Biollante that's gonna be coming out. But yeah,
Nice.
it's the base has got the 4 tentacles, and then there's the like 2 thorn claw ones. They just got a base, like you can kind of place them where you want to display, and then there's 2 of the mouths, which is like that's probably like one of my main favorite parts of Biollante is the little mouths. I also like plant monsters, like when it comes to Super Mario, Piranha Plant, pretty
Oh yeah.
sick. Little Shop of Horrors. I like that as a kid. Feed me, Seymour. Venus flytrap's a pretty cool creature, a plant, that we have on this planet. So.
Well, you mentioned Mario, and now I got to ask, just because you brought it up, did you see the new Mario trailer yet? I have not.
Yeah, I just saw it yesterday. That it looks awesome, man. Like I'm not gonna lie, like when I heard like maybe it was like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago that they're making a Mario movie, I was just like, yes, a lot of people don't like the OG, and yes, it's like goes way off from like the game. I still really like that movie. I think it's fun, it's entertaining, it's interesting. I don't necessarily like and agree like, the full concepts of it being like the way the characters look when it comes to like the Goombas and the Koopa and Bowser. But I do still like that movie a lot, and I always wanted to see a sequel because I think it's Peach in the movie. She busts through the door at the end, like, you're not gonna believe this, and it's like, oh, a sequel, and it's like obviously the movie probably didn't do well to ever get that sequel, or maybe Nintendo didn't like it. I don't really know much about the details, but I was like, yes, we're gonna get another Mario movie, and then I was like, it's animated. I'm like, I wanted to see live action. But I was like, all right, cool, we're getting animated. So seeing the trailer, it visually looks fantastic. I love how it looks. I'm not a fan of Jack Black's voice for Bowser. I just feel like it should be someone else. A more menacing, maybe like deeper type of voice for Bowser, I think. But I'll still give it a chance. I'll probably still love it, but I'm definitely excited. I thought we were supposed to get in December, but I see, like usual with films, it got pushed till April.
Yeah. And it's funny, things like that we're into. We could talk about those. It's like so much of the Japanese culture, the entertainment they put out that we love, the Nintendo games from the old school days and Godzilla, they give us this kind of cool stuff. And you might be like, well, yeah, I like these things. Maybe I'm not such an anime fan. Maybe I'm not such a, into manga and things like that. And I'm not, but I love Godzilla, obviously. And then, of course, what did they do? They gave us Singular Point, and I see your shirt.
Yeah.
Very cool shirt. I've never seen that. Just give me an idea of how you reacted to Singular Point. Was it I don't know, unexpected? Was it? I mean, it looks like you like it because you at least got the shirt there. What was your reaction to it?
Okay, a couple things. If anybody likes the shirt and interested, it's at suko.com. Atsuko.com. It's ATSUKO. And they got some cool Godzilla merch. A lot of the shirts I wear on the channel are either from Cavity Colors or Atsuko. They have some cool original Godzilla designs. They're affordable. I'm not gonna say like I'm a huge Singular Point fan, but like anytime I can see some new Godzilla shirts to get and I like how they look, I'm definitely gonna rock them, whether like I'm a huge fan of it versus other incarnations. But I do like it. I just finished watching it the second time just like a few days ago. I wouldn't say I like full on like paid attention to it this second time because my daughter, she's into anime, and so she was watching some of it with me. So I just kind of, it was on the background, and then I just decided to finish the series again, just see the monster action. The first time I watched it, I knew what to expect, which was don't have high expectations. It's going to be different and weird. I did not like how Ultima looked whenever we got the released image of how he's going to look. I'm like, what is up with these like saber tusk things coming out? I'm like, he looks like really like fat, like in the legs, like real huge, and then like small body up top. But after seeing it, I was like, all right, I warmed up to it. He looks pretty cool. The figures are cool. It's just like Shin. I don't really like how Shin looks. Pretty ugly version of Godzilla. But the figures knock it out the park. Like, when it comes to figures, like, I noticed the designs I don't really like in the movies. They do really well with figures. Like, I'm not a GMK design fan. Figures are awesome. Final Wars, awesome figures. Don't like how he looks in a way. He's like a mean, evil cat or something. I know I might be upsetting people because those are like some of the more popular designs. But when it comes to figure form, I definitely like what we get. A lot of people don't like Singular Point because it's really complex. It's a lot of science jargon, and I tried to pay attention to it more this time, but it was still kind of hard to follow, though I get the gist of the show. I think it's cool. It's unique. It's something different. It's trying not to give us the same story we always get with Godzilla and try and be innovative. It would have been cool to not mash up the monster designs and kind of make them new monsters, but they're still kind of nods to the old ones. I like it, and then I kind of don't like it. It's like, and then when it comes to the outro video, where we actually get the actual designs, and you actually see King Caesar, who's not in the show, and you see Kiru, I'm like, why can't we get an animated Godzilla series like this? Like, let me see the awesome like designs that we love in cartoon animated, form. But all in all, I like the show. It's not like what I necessarily want from a Godzilla series, and there's things that could be better about it, but I do enjoy it. I'm hoping we get a second season. I mean, more Godzilla content versus none is how I look at it.
Oh, absolutely. And we got a question in the chat I want to get back to here in a minute. Actually, we got Lee first was mentioning he did enjoy Singular Point, found it enjoyable, but had to watch it twice. Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
To understand it better. It's like one of those movies where you see it the second time, it's like, oh, I'm getting some of the stuff I missed before, like watching the M. Night Shyamalan movies or whatever, some twist movies. It's like, oh, now I see where I missed all this other stuff. Easy to miss. And he also mentioned about the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla.
Yeah.
I got something to say about that, but I was going to let my guest go first. Dewan, any love for the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla?
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's another childhood staple. I know he really lived it because he said he's 70s kid, and that came out in the 70s. I'm borderline 90s, like I said, came in at 89. But whenever Cartoon Network would air it, definitely recorded those. I bought the first two. It's where they broke up the first season into 3 volumes, and the third volume is like ridiculously rare and overpriced online. I'm a bit like OCD with like I gotta get stuff brand new, And so like a brand new, even used, but brand new of the volume 3 of the first season is like over $100. But the first two were pretty affordable and pretty common, but they never released the second season for some reason. I did buy a Blu-ray version of from someone on eBay, but then I realized it was bootleg and like it wasn't the best quality, so I returned and got my money back after I watched it, of course, because I'm like, I don't know how I'm ever gonna watch it. And then thankfully the Godzilla channel is actually airing, you know, all of the episodes. So it's like now we finally have access to it. I still would like a proper release, like give us a Blu-ray of both seasons. I do like the show. I'm not huge on like his design. You know, he doesn't really have very many. He just has one row of like dorsal spikes, and then he breathes like fire. And his roar was like literally just someone going, roar, roar. You know, but it's got a really awesome theme song, man. Like, up from the depths of the stories high. I got the Mondo piece. I haven't featured. I was going to, you know, release it whenever I first got it, but I saw everyone was doing it online, and I'm just like, I'll eventually get to it. Maybe when it's not so in the forefront, because I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna, you know, I do it for fun. You know, I'm like, if I'm gonna unbox this, might as well share it with people. Maybe people will like it. So far, people have liked, you know, what I've got. But I also look at like, you know, what can I really make a statement with? Because if people are seeing like, oh, you know, this YouTuber is doing this YouTuber, it's like they might not really pay attention to it. But I do have that statue. It's cool. We finally got a Hanna-Barbera figure. I think I heard NECA proposed to Toho of doing it, and I think they said no. So I don't know what Mondo did to be able to do it, but I'm glad we got it. And so yeah, I like that. I do like the 98 series better. Whenever I was watching the Hanna-Barbera one, it's got some lulls in it, like where I was kind of like, a lot of times I watch it at night when my kids are asleep so I can hear and pay attention. There's no captions. And a lot of times I'm tired, so I start like drifting off if it's not like super engaging. But all in all, I still like it. I do like the 98 series, but I want a proper Godzilla animated series. I want one that has all of our Toho favorites, got awesome animation, really fun, good story. Because like with, you know, you're getting original characters in both American cartoons. Hanna-Barbera, you have like a Rodan ripoff kind of, which is kind of cool. And then there's like a, you know, a one-headed dragon. It's like, maybe it's kind of like Ghidorah, because I think it had lightning. I could be wrong. But a lot of the monsters, I'm not too big on how they look, just like the 98 series. I'm a real visual person. I like stuff that looks cool, or like dinosaur, reptilian, you know what I'm saying? And so if there isn't a lot of that, I'm kind of like, eh. But it would be cool to get an actual animated series where we're seeing like Ghidorah, not like the anime movie where he's something weird. I do like that take on it. A lot of people don't like the anime trilogy, but I find it pretty interesting. After I didn't like it the first view, I liked it the second view, and that's how I am a lot of times. I have high expectations. I don't know what I'm going to get, so I'm just like, that's not what I wanted or thought. And then once I come back to it, I'm just like, all right, I know I'm getting into, I can really appreciate the story, just like Shin was for me.
Yeah, it's funny how something that someone else might have a bleeding heart for, or really likes it, or really hates it, but we can get along as kaiju fans because it's like, well, that's cool. You like that? You know, we can still be friends because that's not going to divide us. It's like the Hanna-Barbera series. If someone said, yeah, it's not mine, I don't care for it, never wanted to watch it, or I watched it and hated it, and I was like, that's cool. You know, it's not for you. I loved it too as a kid growing up. It was on TV. My kids love it too, actually. It is funny.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. Old animation, they were really entertaining. I don't know what they were doing. They're holding our attention, even though the storyline's a little slower and the animation's cheaper by today's
Yeah.
standards, and we've got, stuff in the current animations. It's always constantly throwing stuff at you, and everyone's seems like they're like hopped up on sugar constantly. And
Yeah.
these, these classic Hanna-Barberas, took their time, got you into a story, had some goofy, storyline going on, goofy characters, Godzuki, I mean, it's like whatever.
And Godzuki.
But it's funny, that still has a special place in people's hearts. And Mondo, like you said, recognize that. You got your statue. I'm looking forward to seeing that episode when you get that up to do that Mondo one. Yeah.
I was going to, the only one I'm missing from the museum series is the 54, and I just haven't been able to, pull the trigger on it yet. And I kind of wanted to, kind of feature them like maybe back to back, but it's not like I necessarily have to. I bought the Attack Peter one aftermarket, and then it's like when it comes to collecting, man, it's like sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It's like I got it for like what I thought was a good price, and then within like a month they started going like cheaper, like back to like the market price. And even I was like, if only I would have been patient. I was anxious, when I had some extra money, because it sold out. But the 54 and the Hanna-Barbera are still on their website and even on other vendor sites. But the Attack Peter one's like real popular. That one sold out pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I'll probably feature it soon. I don't necessarily have to wait till I have all three. I just usually like to kind of pair stuff and show them together at some point.
Yeah. Well, and so you mentioned some of the brands you do collect on and the different variations. And yeah, so I heard you mention Mondo there. So you got some Mondo stuff out there. Any other brands of figures that, what was that Deformation one? That was like something Presto, the Deformation.
Yeah,
there he
I
is.
have them right here on the table. I haven't reboxed them. I'm probably gonna sell it. Unfortunately, I'm trying to make some cash and lessen my collection.
Yeah.
Good thing about at least focus on the positive is like whether you have to pay more money or you have to wait time. A lot of the figures I'll be able to get again at some point in time, because I love everything I have. It is a bit of a mess in this garage. It's so hard to like organize. It's like trying to keep videos coming. I'll just set the stuff aside, and then when I come back to it, I'm just like, wait, what packaging goes with what? And I'm just like, but I kept him on the table since I just last did it. But yeah, it's a Bandai. I'm not too familiar with Band Presto, but I guess it's maybe like a certain series that Bandai has, or maybe it's a collaboration. But they have Ghidorah, which I'll probably feature, and then a regular Godzilla. And I think there's like two different regular Godzillas. The only difference is like the coloring of the base, I think. But I just have one of the two. But it's kind of, it's kind of hard to figure out what I want to feature on the channel, because I do collect the new Playmates, like you mentioned earlier. One reason is like, they're brand new. People are looking for those, and I've had like some pretty good hits with, people are like, oh, hey, like, I'm looking for this figure. I want to see what it's like. And so like I collect the Playmates ones. And but once like I run out of like the newer stuff and I'm waiting for my shelves to actually get stuff, like I'm still waiting for that Monsterverse Ghidorah from Playmates I've been seeing online, and then Ultima's actually been hitting shelves by Playmates, and I want to get that and feature that. But like in the meantime, I have busy schedule. I get kind of tired. Sometimes I'm a little burnt out. But whenever I open stuff, I try and find something different and just kind of throw it out there, see like were people interested or not. At some point, I'm gonna open everything, and then but it's just like trying to figure out like, okay, I stacked stuff for like so many years, and then now I'm doing it, so it's like some of the interest might not be there because it's like, oh, it's old, this came out a couple years ago, it came, and then sometimes it's like, oh no, we love it. Like Art Spirits is one of the brands, you know, you were asking. I really love what they got. And surprisingly, I'm like one of the only people that reviews them based on what a couple people commented. They're like, "Oh, thanks for like posting this. Like, I can't find review anywhere." And they're like X plus, but they're not made vinyl. I don't know what they're made out of. They don't feel straight up like ceramic, but they definitely feel like they're fragile. They're kind of heavy duty. But I have out of their big figures, I have on the channel. I have the regular 2019 Godzilla. I have the burning one. I have the big Ghidorah. He's my favorite. Nice shimmery gold paint job. And I have the Shin Godzilla second form. And I'm waiting to get Kong maybe within a few months. And then they're releasing the small packs. I don't know if you see online. They have the 6 figures. They have the Heisei Ghidorah, the Mecha King Ghidorah. Then they have 54 Godzilla. I think they have the Kiru Godzilla, the Ride, and I think they have 89.
Okay.
And those are like really cool, like, you know, like smaller, really detailed figures. They're not articulated though.
Yeah. Shoot me a link. I don't think I've seen those. Whenever you get the chance after we get done here, and I'll get some chats in, and we're gonna start closing some things up. I also got another question about collecting, but we got Monsters with Attitude in the house. Good to have you.
What up, man?
We've got Adrian, Godzilla Train 1090. What's up, Kaiju family?
There he is.
Good to have you. Yeah, better late than never, right, Adrian? Adrian, how's that shave going? I think he was talking about.
Yeah, I saw the beard.
Dewan, though, the beard is part of the show, right? It's part of your identity, right? So you've got to keep that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I rarely ever shave it. I mean, sometimes I trim it, and I might do something kind of different. I'm not like a pro at fading it like I would like, but yeah, I love rocking the beard. You know, I hated shaving growing up in South Texas, and my town they would make you shave, and then I went to the military for a little bit, and then you obviously had to shave with that. And I'm sure I would have got the beard, but I am thankful that I had to shave so much so I could, you know, grow. A lot of it's genetic, but then also like shaving, you know, helps stimulate the different, you know, growth pattern and more rapid growing. So yeah. The hair is what will probably change. But I usually like to have long hair, but I'll probably cut it again before I grow it out.
Well, it gets hot there in Texas, doesn't it? So having the long hair, and the beard. I was going to say I sweat so easily. So, but yeah, Adrian, he's going to keep it. He says so. Everyone's yelling at him to keep it. So
yeah, man, you got to, man.
Yeah, rock it out. It looks good on you. Some people like me, if I grow it out, it starts getting real gray. You know, I got a year older yesterday. I don't know if you saw that. Yesterday I turned 41, big 4-1. Woo.
Oh yeah, I saw it was your birthday. I just didn't see what the age was, but I wished you happy birthday.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate everyone out there who chimed in and said something. And it's no big deal if you didn't. It's just, you know, when you're at this age, it's just another year, but I appreciate it, and I want people to pass it along and, you know, talk to people out there, you know, send them some love, send them a message, someone you haven't talked to in a while, you know, it's like, how you been, you know, and then they'll ask you, why you calling? Why are you messaging me? Why are you texting me? I don't know. You're just on my mind. How you doing? You know? And it's like, well, that's cool. You know, that's all I want people to do is do that instead of just waiting on their birthdays. Just out of random, you know, do that for some people. Hot here in West Texas.
Oh, another Texan. Yeah, man, it's been way too hot this year, man. Like, I'm in my garage because, like, I don't have enough room for all my stuff, and I want to get like a portable AC, but I just haven't been able, you know, to come up with one. Thankfully, it's fall weather has been kicking in, so it's bearable to sit in here. I did a live with Adrian and a few of the other guys back in July, and I was like, could not breathe. And I was in there for like 3 hours. I was just like, at some point, I was like, man, I gotta go get some water. But yeah, the hair on the face definitely caused sweat. But yeah, man, the gray looks good, man. Embrace the gray. I have some grays coming in my head. I'm like, man, am I getting older? Am I stressed, or is it both?
Yeah. For me, it's kids, 5 of them. So it's
Hey, I'm right there with you. I
yeah.
got 5 of my own, but 6 total. Like
Oh
step
goodness.
parent to one. So yeah, I know the madness, man.
Yeah, I gotcha. More about the heat in Texas, but falls around the corner, like you're saying. It's getting cooler. I'm up here in Indiana. It's already in 50s during the day, 30s, in night. So we're getting
Perfect,
cool.
man.
We're getting
I've
cool
been there
weather.
once, and you're right, Adrian. It has been disrespectfully hot. I got like almost a $300 electric bill. I've never had to pay that much on electric. That's crazy, man. I'm
Oh,
always like under 200, and I'm just like, what? But I've been to Indiana once before when I was a kid, and I don't really remember much, but it was cool. But I definitely like all the states that are cooler. I've just been kind of down here, I think, too long, and I'm waiting to move on whenever the time's right. But I'm originally from Seattle, so I'm all about the cold weather and have snow in winter and stuff, and I don't get that down here, so I'm just like, why?
yeah. we we uh we long for winter to be over with when it gets started. So
Yeah, I don't
sometimes
blame you. I mean, like I say with everything, you need balance. So it's like, yeah, I bet too much months of like shoveling snow and it's just cold what gets too much. I mean, like our life source is water, but if you drink too much water, you can get water poisoning. So it's just like you can't really have too much of anything. You always gotta have a balance. So I definitely hear you on. I always hear people from like the north or just like Midwest where they have snow. They're like, "Oh, I don't like winter. We get tired of it." And I'm just like, I definitely will take some of that cold from you if I could.
I know, right? I want to ask you one more thing about collecting is back to X Plus DefoReals. I know you're into some of them and you got a few in the collection. What's your kind of reaction to the idea of having an X Plus figure, but it's not the big 25s or 30 centimeters, something little with the big head and small body like that?
Yeah, I was looking to see if I could grab one or not, but yeah, I love them. I believe that was probably my first X Plus figure because they're pretty affordable. They're usually under $100. They're the cheapest I've seen them start is like 65, but they're usually like 75, $85, and they're highly detailed. They just got big head, smaller body. Um, I think they're awesome. I always like pre-order them on Sideshow, and I usually can, execute. I'm behind on a few of the releases, like Kong and Jet Jaguar.
Yeah,
I'm definitely a huge fan, just like you. I know I was introduced to him before Ultraman, and I know he's like an Ultraman ripoff, but I think he looks way better than Ultraman. I know Ultraman actually has powers. The only thing I've seen of Ultraman is Zone Fighter, and I watched the episodes that had Godzilla in it or Gigan Ghidorah, and I couldn't get into it. I was like, that stuff is like kind of weird. I am interested in the new movie, but back to your question, yeah, I like all the X Plus. Like, I'm really not picky. I'm really easy to please. Like, whether it comes to like watching anything Godzilla or just in general with stuff, and then collecting. Like I said, I literally have everything. Like the brands is Bandai on the cheap end, the high end. Monster Arts, X Plus. I like the DefoReals. I have one gigantic. It's a Mecha Godzilla. I haven't featured him yet. I've had him for a while, but I do like the 25 and 30 centimeter. I really don't pay attention to the size. I'm just like, oh, new X Plus, cool. I want to get it if I can.
yeah,
And then Trend Masters and Mezco
that's
featured
right.
their a couple new packs. Um,
Super 7, I don't know.
Super 7. I'm still
Yeah.
waiting for those other 3, but my Target still hasn't got them. I'm looking around. Obviously, I got the Jax Pacific. But yeah, I love everything. And then like the monogram keychains you talked about, they had what are these green blind backpacks? Um, I forget what the brand is called. But yeah, like everything. Like I said, I have the Godzilla hot sauces, hot cocoa. Plan on featuring on the channel, tasting, reviewing that. Coffee. They got salsa now. It's GodzillaFoods.com by Jade City Foods. I've talked to the people there. They're really nice and cool. Um, I'm trying to think before you wrap it up, touching base on everything. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just check out the channel. Anybody that doesn't know, I have brand new sealed Mecha Godzilla. I plan on giving away once I get 1,000 subscribers. Still got a ways away, but I'm making it there slowly but surely. And I'm always have extra bag clips and like keychains that I just give away for free. I'm just like, sub to the channel, show me, and I'll send it your way, like no charge. So I definitely like giving back, and so yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I want to give you the chance while we wrap up here to make sure you tell everyone where to find you and any other social outlets you might have that they can follow you at too.
Okay. I'm not too big on like the other social media sites. I just use my personal stuff. I did make a Twitter and Instagram, but I mostly use my personal Twitter. I'm at Dewan, just like it's spelled there, and then and only, and like play on words on my middle name, the one and only, but Dewan and only. I use that more than I actually use the DewanCollex, but I do have the Instagram. I only have a few posts. There's not a lot of interaction there. I'm kind of got my hands full with YouTube, but just like you see on the screen, just minus the space. Honestly, I could probably alter it. I didn't know you could put spaces in YouTube names, so I just put it together with the capital D and the capital C, but definitely find me on there. And then my Facebook is Alexander Dewan Towery. It's just my personal Facebook, and that's where Nick has seen me advertising, posting my videos everywhere. I try and do what I can to, build the channel, get it out there, generate views and keep content coming. But yeah, I'd say if trying to reach me, just go to the YouTube, and maybe if you want to message me, the Instagram, just both for DewanCollex, just like you see spelled, but just no space in between it.
Okay, gotcha. So biggest thing is we're going to get DewanCollex over 1,000 subscribers. We're not just going to hit it. We are going to exceed it. So everyone out there, if you're watching this, you're going to go to YouTube, find DewanCollex, check out his videos, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, hit that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all his fresh new content. It's great stuff. He does a great job reviewing these figures and bringing them to us, and we can live through you enjoying opening up the figures, checking them out, reviewing them. We can, if we may be on the fence about a figure, your reaction helps us, make that decision whether we want to get it in our collection or not, which is why I appreciate other kaiju content creators, because they'll bring me things like that it's like, now I see it. Now I see them interacting with it. I passed on it, and why did I do that? Or I'm glad I passed on it, or I'm glad I picked it up too. So that's why I love, these box days and things like that. I never thought I'd ever get into this idea that I'd be seeing toy reviews online, but they're actually pretty useful and pretty handy, actually. And I think that's great. So definitely check him out, and I want to promote what you do, and keep doing it, because you're doing a great job.
I really appreciate it, and thank you a lot. And then one more quick thing. Obviously, a lot of us are fans of more than one franchise. I don't have as much content as I do my Godzilla, but I do also do Ninja Turtles. I got lots of stuff I just haven't got to, because I usually just go with what people seem to like. I have Mortal Kombat a little bit. I have Primal Rage. '90s arcade fighting game with dinosaurs. So I got those. So
yeah, awesome content. So yeah, that'll be coming up. And I was going to say, I'm also a Masters of the Universe fan, so I collect those and do some box days for those too. And they're monster related. There's some monsters in He-Man, so it's like yeah, anything you can get monster related, I'm all for it. And it's our childhood, TMNT, Mortal Kombat, things like that. That's
definitely
funny. It's all coming back again. It's it was part of our childhood, and then now you go down to the toy aisle and you see Ghostbusters, Transformers.
Yeah,
classic.
NECA's really been good with bringing the 80s and 90s back. It's definitely golden era to collect for like all fandoms. Like NECA is like pushing out so much stuff turtle wise. I'm like, oh man, it's just so much to keep up with. Like I'm probably gonna part ways with like my NECA stuff. I do want to feature it on the channel before I do. But yeah, like it's all us that were kids in that time or like grown-ups now in our 30s and 40s, and we're just like, nah, we're gonna bring back our childhood because these kids don't know about all the cool awesomeness. Like they actually like are releasing like the Transformer toys, Beast Wars by Kenner when I was a kid, the exact Megatron in the toy. I'm like, dude, I gotta get this, but like Godzilla's always my first priority, so it's like whenever I get the funds for it, I'm going to get even more stuff than I could probably handle.
Awesome. Looking forward to that content on your channel. So everyone check that out. And thank you so much for joining us here on another episode of the Monster Report Live. Dewan, we're going to bring you back on a future episode. We'll maybe bring a topic up and have a discussion about that. But I wanted everyone to get introduced to you and your channel and check it out. And definitely like and subscribe to that if you're out there and you are a kaiju fan like we are. A big nerd like we are. So again, thank you, Dewan, for your time. Stick around after we end the broadcast so we can say our proper goodbyes, and I'll have you right back here in just a minute. But again,
thanks, Nick, and everybody. Thanks.
Thank you for your time, and we will catch you on another episode of the Monster Report.